Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. We're going to talk today about the subject of what is a limited partnership. Okay, so we've been going through in a bunch of these videos talking about different corporate forms, and one that is worth touching on that doesn't get a lot of attention, I would say, is a limited partnership. Okay, a limited partnership is super common in the investing space. So it's very, very common that if you're putting together some sort of a fund, it would be structured as a limited partnership, or if you were, say, doing some sort of real estate investing where a bunch of people are putting money in and you have somebody who is running it, that would often be a limited partnership as well. Now, it could be used in other ways. For instance, it's commonly used to have a limited partnership, say in Canada, to access the Canadian banking system, etc., which is kind of attractive right now, or a limited liability partnership in UK. So these are kind of some common cases. Now, there's equivalents in other countries, but we're just going to cover the general concept of what it is here, okay? So a limited partnership is, as implied, a partnership, okay? It's slightly different from a limited liability partnership, but not massively so. Limited liability partnership is what you'll often see at law offices, okay? So it'll be, Dan and Sullivan LLP, right? LLP stands for limited liability partnership, okay? And there's some consequences to that, but it's not going to apply to you in this situation. So it's a partnership where there are two types of partners, all right? This is the most important characteristic, and there's some consequences that are going to be relevant to if you're doing international tax planning or international asset protection structuring, this sort of thing. So on the one hand, you have a general partner, okay? The general partner is the operating partner in this, okay? It's very common that the general partner would actually be a company. And the reason for this is the general partner has unlimited liability exposure. Meaning if there are debts of the partnership, those debts can affect the actual assets of the general partner, okay? So in order to try and separate that, they'll use a company, will be the general partner, and then there'll be the limited partners. The limited partners, their liability is restricted to what they've invested, all right? So very similar to what you see with a corporation, right? Some sort of a limited company where their contribution that they put in, their initial investment, and the money, that's basically their liability, how much they can lose, okay? Now, from a tax standpoint, this is typically treated as flow-through income, okay? So it's not, you're not taxed at the partnership level, then you get taxed again at the individual level, it's flow-through, okay? So same as when we're talking about disregarded entities, when we're talking about the normal treatment of an LLC, of an S Corp, etc. Partnership income flows through to the partners, okay? So very, very important to realize that. Now, some of the advantages of this are, first of all, let's, for instance, use Canada as an example, right? I say, okay, well, I want to access some things through the Canadian banking system, the Canadian payment processing infrastructure, etc. Once again, as people are trying to do Shopify, they're trying to do drop shipping, they're trying to do Amazon FBA businesses, things like this, you may say, okay, well, where can I bank? Where can I get access to good infrastructure? There's some okay advantages of doing it. In fact, often the way that you go is you go through the US. As companies like Stripe have expanded their reach, you can look at Estonia, you can look at Bulgaria, you can look at various other parts of Europe, the UK. But by and large, there are some cases where those are not the best options, all right? And so in those situations, it may, I would say it's a small percentage, but there may be a situation where going, say, into Canada is useful, or using, instead of a UK limited company, using a limited liability partnership in UK, okay? Now, there's an interesting application here from kind of an asset protection secrecy standpoint as well, which is that the limited partners typically are not publicly disclosed, okay? So whereas it's very clear who the general partner is, right? This is going to be par for the course, right? They're the person who is responsible. They're the person who we should all be worried about in terms of KYC and all this kind of stuff, setting up bank accounts. The nature of it is that it's typically structured as an investment structure, meaning that you're going to have limited partners who get added on as you go. And so you're not going to go and report all of them. You're not going to put them into the filing with the registry. You're not going to, generalizing here, right? It might be in one country or another that you do, but generally speaking, you won't. And generally speaking, you're not going to be in a situation where they're going to be with the bank, right? So they have their share. And what you'll usually do is you'll have within the partnership agreement, okay, that's how you're going to define it. You're going to say, okay, we're going to have some sort of a partnership agreement here. Under the terms of the partnership agreement, there will be some sort of a split between the limited partners and the general partners. So for instance, if I was doing a real estate development, it might be normal that the general partner says, okay, I'm going to put together the project, I'm going to raise the capital, I'm going to run the project, I'm going to manage it, etc. I'm going to take 70% of the profit, and the investors will take, I'm going to take 30% of the profit, and the investors will take 70, right? That would be like a normal split. Now, it could be 50-50, it could be 65-35, it could be 80-20, right? It just depends on the particular structure. But that would be a very normal thing. Obviously, we see in the case of a lot of funds, hedge funds, etc., you have this 2-and-20 pricing. And so, whatever that split is. But the point is, you have the flexibility to define that, right? You can say, okay, well, what is going to the general partner? What's going to the limited partners? And by the way, the general partner can also be a limited partner. Meaning, for instance, say I set up that project, right? I say, okay, great. I'm the general partner. I'm the manager of what's going on here. I can choose to also invest as a limited partner, or my family can, or whatever, right? So you can have all different ways that gets allocated and set up. Point is that there's different rights for limited partners than there is for general partner, and there's also different consequences, okay? So yeah, from a tax standpoint, now the difference here, if you were to compare it, and I did a video on this, you can go and check out comparing limited partnerships in Canada, UK, and US LLC, is if you're comparing to, say, an LLC, there is no equivalent of an LLC in many countries. A partnership is pretty well defined. Most countries have some sort of a partnership structure. And so internationally, the treatment from a tax standpoint is quite clear. And this could work for you or it could work against you depending on the situation that you're looking at. Okay, so anyway, if you have questions, if you're interested, you're saying, hey, look, I need to set up a structure for myself. I'm interested in asset protection. I'm interested in saving on tax. I'm interested in being able to operate in some country or access banking or payment processing, etc. Please reach out to us. You can visit our websites, www.offshorecapitalist.com, offshorecitizen.net. Subscribe to the channel. We got lots of videos here. Like this video. If you can share it with friends, we appreciate anything. And send us some comments. If you'd like to book a consultation, we're always available for that. You can go to www.clarity.fm/Michael Rosmer. Or if you go to offshorecapitalist.com or offshorecitizen.net, there's links there that you can follow as well. So we've got plenty of other articles. If you have something you'd specifically like to see, reach out to us, make a comment in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next video.